Check, check, check.
Check, check.
Hey, I don't want to talk about it. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 383 of the Anthem podcast, coming to you from all over LA. But Corey is there at the brand new hashtag OTA LA studios, somewhere in Mission Junction, gentrifying LA one neighborhood at a time. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for listening on your podcatcher of choice. The easiest way, anchor.fm/O the Anthem.
And we are going to keep it a quick show. Corey has been working all day after a weekend where redacted. Sorry, we're not allowed to talk about it. So we are going to keep it to call this the abridged version of the podcast, which I'm sure everyone will be unbelievably sad about. And hopefully, based on the news that we got this week, you guys got your Moderna vaccines, or so you don't have an abridged version of your lives. Because cheers to everyone with Moderna. We are doing better than everyone else, so good
Cheers.
for us.
You know, it's funny because when people in California first started getting their vaccines, the Pfizer one seemed to be the one that people wanted to get.
Yeah.
Like if you were making a list of the ones you wanted to get, Pfizer was right at the top of the list. And in Maryland, I think Pfizer was the one that was getting passed out more than Moderna.
Well,
and
Johnson & Johnson ended up catching up because that's what they were giving out from the state eventually. So, and I wanted Johnson & Johnson. I wanted the one and done. Like I listen. I like my my vaccines. Like I like my women. I want to see you once, put it in, and then be done with it and never talk about it again.
And then feel the effects 4 to 6 weeks later.
I mean, yeah, you know. I guess in this example, I'm on the other side of it. I'm the receiving party, where I'm just emotionally distraught and continue to be worried for the next several weeks.
Well, we start like we have for most of the last year and a half with the COVID pandemic, and you know it's been. Shall we say, not a lot of fun here recently. There's been a lot of doom and gloom, so we figured we'd switch things up a bit and highlight the good that is coming out, which is if you are fully vaccinated, the breakthrough cases are not leading to hospitalizations and death in any kind of meaningful
look,
way.
I if you want to be negative like me, you can say there is still a 0.05 chance of a breakthrough infection leading to hospitalization or death. Now, that's a very low chance.
Yeah.
But it's still a chance. Much like me getting the Johnson & Johnson, I was like, fingers crossed, get that heart attack and finally be done with this mortal coil. But yeah, there's still a chance. It's just very slight. And compared to the Delta variant in unvaccinated populations, which is now they're saying 30%. 30% of people who are unvaccinated who get the Delta variant of all ages, the 30% of people are ending up in the hospital in one way or shape or form. That might just be the ER, they give you some oxygen and send you home with some, antibiotics or whatever, or you're in the ICU leading to death. That's a wide range, but why? Get the fucking vaccine. What is wrong with you?
I mean, at this point, if you're just trying to prove yourself, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if I was a
rich man,
if I was a rich man,
and there's the copyright strike. All right.
No, YouTube. We're just we
I
were
don't
being
think either of us did a version good enough for content ID to pick that up.
We were being facetious. No, I mean, what I would do if I was like perhaps like one of these far right Republicans or something like that is I would get the shot in secret and then continue telling people I didn't get it,
Well, funny enough, they did that. All of them did that. So it's great.
Well, I mean, like, I saw some story earlier about Rand Paul going off against the COVID vaccine, and people were just replying to it or like quote tweeting it with the picture of Rand Paul getting this vaccine. So it was like,
well, I have to say, in the circles of people who are not vaccinated, what I have heard overwhelmingly up until now, especially now that statistics are starting to come out, is, well, it's not FDA approved. I don't want to put anything in my body that's not FDA approved. Well, good news, dummies. In the next few weeks, Pfizer's vaccine is going to be FDA approved fully, and about 2 weeks after that, Moderna's vaccine will be FDA approved fully, and that same version that you got, the same version that's been available for a year, will be 100% approved, and Johnson & Johnson's is likely to get approval sometime after that. It'll probably be several months because the FDA is asking them to do additional studies because of the heart problems that were in the base studies for first-time approval. So the problems that happened during, which likely have very little to do with the vaccine, but nonetheless. So no matter what one you get, no matter what one you have access to, and the Biden administration has talked a lot about the fact that no matter how rural you are, everyone is within like a 15-minute or 20-minute drive of one vaccine and within an hour's drive of more than one, and for most people, all three varieties.
Yeah.
And if you're near the border for another country, you might have access to like 4 or 5 different ones, depending on if you want to cross, country borders and if they'll let you go. So,
yeah. Canada won't.
Canada will not. And Mexico will let you go, and you can only come back if you're a citizen of the United States. So, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So everything seems to be on the up and up. FDA approvals coming, and people are getting vaccinated at higher rates. ERs are also very full, and we're hearing a change amongst conservatives. Essentially, other than Ron DeSantis, who is going to ride this Trump train into the ground because he thinks he's going to be the chosen one eventually. But most other Democrat or Republican governors and senators have backed away. The governor of Louisiana was on CNN, of all places, saying, like, please, go get the vaccine. I can't go on other news sites and have them actually let me talk. Go get the vaccine. There
was Asa Hutchinson, who's the governor of Missouri. I can't remember.
Yes,
Missouri or Arkansas. Right. I can't remember.
I think it's Missouri.
One of the states that is absolutely ravaged by COVID at the moment. He had signed a law banning all local mask mandates and stuff like that. And, in a moment of, I think, realizing what he had done, said that that was a mistake. And he shouldn't have done it because he wishes more people would wear their mask right now. And
that is Arkansas's governor. Good for you.
Arkansas. Yeah, there we go.
Good pull.
And I just I just don't get what some people are trying to prove per se. And like to me, no matter what argument you come up with, it just seems dumb. Like Lamar Jackson had tested positive during the season last year, and then at the beginning of training camp here, he tested positive for a second time.
Yep.
And he's finally back in practice and stuff like that. And he had an interview with local reporters this week, and they said, "So, now that you've gotten COVID twice, are you going to get the vaccine?"
Why would I need the vaccine? I've had it twice.
And he responded with the, "Well, it's a personal decision." To which I'm just like, "Brother, you got it twice. Come on." Like, really? Here we gonna?
He's what? He's
are
20,
we trying to tempt fate? Like,
he's 22, right? 22, 23?
Something like that. Yeah.
Because he's young and stupid and rich. So, of course, he's going to do whatever he wants to do. No one's going to tell him. If he wants to build a rocket that is 30 stories tall, he will do it because he's young and stupid and rich. Shout out to Elon
It'll
Musk.
look like a dick, so help me God.
Well, no, so the Super Heavy got built on the launch pad for the first time this week.
Oh, did it?
Yes. 30 stories tall. And it was only just to, get it up and do some testing, but then they took it apart.
Get it up.
But Elon Musk subtweeted the FAA a picture in black and white of the rocket, trying to make some comparison to when we used to, the opening to Newsroom, we used to make big things. We used to build great things. Just like, bro, you don't. No, that's apartheid money, rocket money. I don't want anything to do with that. But yes, we are back on topic. We are hearing a shift from the southern governors. The southern governors, of course, are I shouldn't say that. Flyover country governors, because Indiana, now all 92 counties are no-go zones. Just don't visit.
Yeah.
Have you seen the list of places not to travel?
I mean, I saw LA put out a thing saying don't go to Las Vegas. I know that was
Vegas is on the list. Basically,
yeah.
if it's a place you would want to go, it's on the list. And
well, I mean, most of the country is kind of on the list, if you will.
I'm just saying, when are people going to stop risking my life? That's what I still have employees who are like, oh no, I'm going to that show. I already paid those tickets. I mean, the fuck is wrong with you? Is it worth your life? Is it worth your life? Fucking dumbasses. But they're young and they're stupid.
Especially if they're unvaccinated. That's just the thing. If you're vaccinated and you're going to if you're going to the Lollapalooza, I imagine
nightmares. I had nightmares about Lollapalooza last week.
We talked about it last week. But I mean, there is, I could imagine that there is a part of somebody who booked a ticket for Lollapalooza, said, oh, maybe not that many people will show up because why would they? And I spent whatever, $700 on this ticket. I might as well go enjoy it. I don't know how much they cost. I'm just throwing out.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Yeah, it's probably
because all I hear about is the Coachella people who are just like, I spent $14,000 this weekend, and I'm just like, how? It's fucking Palm Springs. But the you spend all that money, and then you're just like, well, maybe people won't show up, and then you're in the middle of 200,000 people, and you're just shit.
I have a thought. If we just carpet bombed Coachella, do you think we could stimulate the economy by getting some of that money, spread around other places? I feel like that would, and by spread around, I mean in small pieces in a desert that have been turned to glass.
These people don't have wills. It's not like they're giving
right.
It out
So
to
the
people.
money goes to the state if you don't have a will, and then redistribute that income.
I don't necessarily trust the state to spend it the way they're supposed to either.
Oh, here comes the far righty. All right, here we go. Okay.
No, I mean, listen, I'm appreciative of California and how they want to do things for people, and how they've been sort of ahead of the curve as far as taking care of people during the course of the pandemic. But California is also the state where it's just oh, we just got $1 billion in additional money. Let's spend $250 million of it to find out how to spend it. We're gonna spend $250 million of the $1 billion to figure out the best way to spend all the money that we just got. It's we'll spend the $250 on something. It's what the fuck?
Related, not related. The Gavin Newsom recall is heating up, and I don't want to say it's Biden all over again, but it's kind of Biden all over again because all I'm hearing from Democrats is, yes, but what happens if a Republican wins? Just vote for Newsom. He's not the best. We all know he's not the best, but he's what we got right now. And it could be a Republican. And then if Dianne Feinstein, if she dies, or if Corey gets his dreams and she throws herself down a stairwell and things go all awry, we could get a Republican nominating a Republican, and that'll throw the balance off in the Senate. No, I mean, that's not going to happen. But
How about just Diane resigns today?
could do it.
Like you're 88 years old. Just go fuck off. Like I don't know what you.
Babs
I don't
did
know what
that,
you're
right?
trying to.
Didn't Babs reach to the point where she was like, "Oh, we have a Democratic governor. I'm going to resign because we seem to be trading back and forth."
I think so. I think that was part of her logic, and she wasn't even that old at that. I mean,
Younger
she's
than
still kicking too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just I really we talked about it a couple years ago with the NFL officials, like how you can't challenge every play, but sometimes you wish you could just throw the flag to make them look at it.
Yeah.
Like
To shame
look at
them.
how badly you fucked up. Yeah.
I don't have any challenges, but I would have if I had one.
Come out in the middle of the field after you throw the beige incompetence flag and like have them like come, put the hat in their hand and just be like, I'm sorry I fucked up so bad. I didn't mean to. Like,
yeah, they got to make it really throwable too, though. You throw it all the way across the field, so they have to go get it and bring it back to you.
It's got a fucking dildo attached to it. Fucking go get it.
Sticks to somebody's helmet. They're running around the field.
Just stuck to the helmet. Fucking idiocracy. There's what I really wish the California recall allowed is you can vote no and then still pick somebody. Like you can vote no and then still pick like John Cox if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And then if for whatever reason Gavin Newsom is recalled, if the yes votes win, then your John Cox vote will count towards whoever eventually takes over.
Yes.
Newsom would like you to just vote no and then not vote anymore after that. Keep your voting to yourself after that.
Actually, he probably would really rather you stay home because he can probably get his people out. So
what I would really like is a vote no, and then there's an option for just like I didn't want to do this, but fuck you, Gavin Newsom. It's like the choice. Like
start a writing campaign. Start a writing campaign right now.
Like we should get like a fuck Newsom like on the ballot somewhere. Like, can someone legally change their name to fuck Newsom, and then we could vote no,
right?
And then we could do fuck Newsom.
You could write it in.
Like, I mean, I guess that would be a great option because then it wouldn't actually go to some.
Yeah,
like I'm voting for Caitlyn Jenner as a joke, and then we find out on September 15th or whatever. How horrible that joke is gone.
Gavin Newsom was recalled. Fortunately, he also won the re-election campaign. Strangely, fuck Newsom brought in 1% of the vote.
But I mean, like, listen, just because Gavin Newsom is doing a fine enough job doesn't mean I like him.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Like, he's the Martin O'Malley of California Democrats. Like, I just don't get why, like, what the appeal is. But granted, he's way better than
John
alternatives
Cox.
that we have in the alternatives that we have in the California recall election, and more better than Ron DeSantis or Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott, by the way, Rob, you're a fan of history, so I want you to see if this has any parallels to something in history, because the old slogan.
History repeats itself.
Don't know their history are doomed to repeat it.
Yes.
Texas right now is in the middle of one of the worst rises of cases of coronavirus in the entire country.
The third wave.
Yes.
Delta wave. Yes.
And Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, was at an event this past weekend, and he was in front of maskless hordes, and he was fiddling. Does this sound like anything anything in history?
Well,
there's somebody who fiddled in the middle of some sort of like
a crisis of some type.
some sort of hypothetical burning of your city. Does that sound familiar to you?
Well, there is the tale of Nero, also a fanatical dictator who wanted things his way or not at all, fiddling as Rome burned. But
yes.
So the historians don't come in to correct me. That's likely not a true story, but I do like the historical comparison. So, because Nero actually by that time probably was too insane to actually manage to fiddle. But it is likely that he set the fire himself. So there's that. And by the way, Greg Abbott, you set the fire yourself. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Did you see Ron DeSantis's comment, by the way, of like, well, I'm not going to hear Joe Biden's criticism about COVID when he's done nothing about the border.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
all that Florida border.
legendary border state Florida. Like,
we got to stop these Georgians from coming in.
Fucking Alabama, you stay on that side of the line.
Honestly, if there's going to be a civil war, I'd really like to see it go down between Georgia and Florida, and that's it. Just those two. Let them battle it out like it's 1820 again, and have
the band Florida Georgia line is going to be the Maryland of the equation. We don't want to be involved. We want to stay neutral.
Listen, we're very mobile. We can move just like the real state line.
A box on both your houses, please.
Thanks, Cato. But yeah, so that the discussion about the Gavin Newsom reminded me, by the way, that in a school election that was held, because kids are back in school now.
Yeah,
maskless, depending on the state, just making up their own rules.
1 in 5 children tested in Florida are testing positive for COVID, by the way. Just as a thing.
Sacrificing our children at the altar of capitalism. But in a school election, apparently there was a young candidate who ran as a communist. And the school board put a kibosh on that and booted him out of the election. Any idea why, Corey?
Because it was a red state and they weren't cool with that.
Well, it was, and they weren't. But that's not the reason that has been given in social media for them kicking him out. In some unofficial polling done by the school paper, as it would be, he was winning by an overwhelming majority. And he said, "We can't have that. That doesn't count. You're done. Vote for somebody else." So,
at this point, I just feel like communism just needs a good rebrand.
I'm working on it. There's like a color thing that I got going on, and
I feel like if you didn't tell people it was communism, they'd be more inclined to vote for it. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't tell you how many
same great communism flavor without the name.
How many Instagram conversations I have where I explain a concept and I get the person to be like, "Oh, absolutely, I'd be down for that." And I'm like, "So you're a Marxist?" And they're like, "Oh, you tricked me. That's a trick." It's like, no, you're poor. Marxism helps you. You get like healthcare and a job and a place to live, all things you would like to have. And you can still have incentive to work because that's how Marxism works. And like it's great. No. Okay, we can't do communism.
Listen, the bread lines aren't that bad. The bread is good. I can't help it. What am I supposed to say? The bread is good.
Again,
sourdough.
As I've said many times here and other places, if the reverse had happened and there had been, as the agrarians wanted to in the early 1900s, a communist revolution or a socialist revolution in the United States, and the Tsar had stayed in Russia, in the Cold War, communism would have been successful. We beat Russia in the Cold War, not because of any factors of command economy, communism, or capitalism, but because there are places that are right now infested with COVID that can grow crops year round. And that makes all the difference in the world. When you're not looking at Ukraine and saying, "Hey, you guys got a 7-month growing time and we need you to feed 90 million people. Good luck." It makes all the difference.
It's a mighty fine border you have there, Ukraine. It'd be a shame if somebody did something about it.
Well, by this time, they were way past that point. This was after the Ukrainian former prime minister had been like, "Churchill, Roosevelt, a word?" And Stalin had been like, "Don't worry about him. It's fine. No. He's okay. He's okay. We're going to take care of him. Don't worry about that."
He just likes to talk. Don't worry about him.
He's a talker. Yeah. You can talk to me. I'll go talk to him. That's how we're going to handle that from here on out. But yeah, anyway. So speaking of governors, it's not only the South that seem to be under attack. Southern governors that seem to be under attack, because even our beloved, at one time in running for Pandemic Daddy or COVID Daddy, I don't remember which one. One of those two.
Pandemic Daddy.
Daddy. Andrew Cuomo, brother of Chris Cuomo from CNN.
Yeah.
And that fact alone must hurt so many women that we know. Because, by the way, if one's capable of it, the other one's. I'm just saying, not that anyone's guilty of anything, but maybe it's genetic.
Yeah, because, clearly Hitler's brother also world-acclaimed painter.
Yes, absolutely.
What else is there to say?
Well, I was going to say, if you want to look a little more closer to home, my own brother, also psychopath. So there's that. It runs genetic.
You see, you thought I was going to go somewhere weird with the Hitler thing.
But Andrew Cuomo, I think we talked about it last week, at least the allegations against him.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before. Like the initial bit of it had happened a couple months back, and I think all the Democrats basically all came behind the party line of like, well, everyone deserves an investigation, and let's see what happens here. And
the AG is gonna do her job, and we'll see what happens after that.
It's like the Deshaun Watson thing with the Houston Texans, where it's just like, yeah, he's practicing because they haven't said anything officially about the 23 cases of sexual assault that have been reported against him. It's like
he's still practicing now. Yes.
If you got one or maybe two cases of sexual assault that people are talking about, then I could see how maybe there's a misunderstanding or something went wrong. But once you get up to double digits, it's a little bit more difficult for me to understand how there's no merit at all to any of these claims.
What you don't understand is, as an Italian, Corey, there is a physical greeting aspect, and he knows he's done wrong because he will still call people toots and babe and sweetheart, and every time he does, he catches himself and says, I'm sorry, I know I'm not supposed to do that, and I'm just so friendly with everybody.
Well, he did more than that. That's the problem.
Oh, well, that's true. Yes,
that's what Letitia James was talking about this week. And as the news officially came out that the investigation has been concluded and things weren't looking good for Cuomo, so came the calls for him to resign from Biden on down.
As promised. Like, hey, listen, we're going to let them decide, but then we will act accordingly. And again, Al Franken was forced to resign because of a picture taken decade before when he was not even
when he was a comedian. When he was a comedian.
To another comedian who, after all of the hubbub, had said, no, totally cool. We did this to each other all the time. But it didn't matter because when it came out, he was a U.S. senator. So
my favorite part about the Franken thing is he didn't even get the goods of the tits in the hand. Like if you look at the picture, his hands are a solid 6 inches away from the woman's breast. It's like you didn't even have it in him for the joke photo to actually like squeeze a boob. Like he was like.
Corey's thoughts are his and his alone. They do not reflect my own thoughts or those of the Anthem podcast.
I'm not saying that he should have. I'm just saying that there are people on the.
He didn't even get the goods. He didn't even get a handful for all of that.
Andrew Cuomo has done way worse and will not resign at all. Meanwhile, Al Franken was doing the respectful form of sexual harassment.
The respectful form of sexual harassment.
Quote unquote sexual respectful form.
Learning new things every day. I didn't even realize that was a thing that could happen. So
what I find it very interesting about this whole Cuomo thing, because I mean, like, he probably won't resign. If somebody wants to bring charges against him, I guess they can try.
They're going to impeach him. The New York State legislature is going to impeach him. So.
Do they have the votes? I know it was like sort of growing, but it seems like it stalled out at a certain point.
So I think that there is a growing, but it's growing in the way of like the old heads up there being like, listen, let me talk to him. Let me talk to him because we don't want to have this huge infight. This only helps the Republicans. Like, let's figure out if we can get him to just step down, but let's stop talking about impeachment because that's just going to make, he's Italian. It's just going to make him want to fight.
I think
he's not. He's like an O'Malley, a Cuomo or an O'Malley. They just want to fight when you try to push back against them.
So, the New York, I think has like a 2/3 impeachment thing, though, right? Like you got to get 2/3 vote.
Generally, everywhere that's the way it works. So,
yeah, unless you're in California, then all you need is 1/10 of the people who vote.
But that's the public. That's the public versus the legislature. The legislature still need 2/3 if they bring. But Andrew Cuomo should really maybe think about stepping down. Now it would be an ideal time because there are 10 million job openings right now. He could just step right into something. And I mean, listen, nepotism, he could probably get a job at CNN. I'm just saying. They don't care about that stuff as much.
I was going to say, did you see Chris's show where he's just like, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about the allegations. It's like, come on, man. You're so proud to bring your brother on.
Yeah, you flex
during
that
the
all the
pandemic.
fucking time in the pandemic. Now you don't want to talk about it. Okay.
Having
cool.
these interviews where he's just like, I got to pick on my big bro every once in a while.
I love you, bro.
Like,
yeah.
I love you, bro.
Keep doing the good work up there. What, groping the secretary? Is that the good work, Chris? Huh?
Well, not only that, but the him being apparently very involved in the statement that got released when Cuomo was like denying all these things. Like, none of this looks good for Chris either. This is one of those situations where you you live by the sword and you die by the sword.
Yep.
Like, you have this tremendous rise up cable news ranks because you're brother to the governor of New York, and then as soon as he's the embattled governor of New York, your stock starts to slide. And like, I don't know what Chris does about this whole thing, to be honest with you.
Probably
I mean, he can look for one of these 10 million jobs.
I say probably the same thing he did before he was famous on cable news, and that's settle in every evening, eat a bar of soap because he can't tell the difference between that and a chocolate bar, and then have somebody drive him home because legally he's not allowed to drive. He'd never.
It's not because he's drunk or anything.
Yeah,
it's just
he's not.
You know, the Italian thing. A joke. It's a joke. Can't we joke anymore?
No, we can't. All right, canceled. Corey just got canceled. All right. But yes, there are 10 million jobs available.
I'm gonna get canceled by a bunch of people who are just like, "Hey, what's the matter, you?"
By the way,
how much worse can I make this? How much worse can I make this?
Let's see how
far I could go.
My favorite Olympic thing is Italians being super Italian, and it's just like, listen, you can call it a stereotype if you want, but and then a 20-second thing of like Italian soccer players, like, what are you talking about? And track,
fuck your mother.
Every event, just like, come on, man. So, anyway, there's 10 million jobs available right now. And people are saying, like, where are the people to take these jobs? And some companies are getting real desperate. You said you saw a sign saying Royal Farms was giving, like, a signing bonus, like your NFL star. $500, though. Not quite the same.
Yeah, not like 10 million or nothing.
Target is saying if you work for them for a certain period of time, they will pay for your college and your books.
40 years.
It's this new brand new concept.
Sign on to a 40-year term. They'll pay off your college.
It's we are trying out this new concept. It's called indentured servitude. It's slavery with extra steps. But yeah.
Meanwhile, Rob's looking at the thing and going like, you know what? Like, it's probably not
like old stuff too, or just like new expenses, or like
how
if
much
I give you a
student
bill.
loans exactly.
Honestly, I'd have less stress. Show up at work. You know, it's the kind of thing of like, and you know this from working in the restaurant industry, where you're like, it's a Saturday afternoon, and Corey used to work at a pit beef restaurant. He'd be like,
you're looking to kill yourself, yeah.
And you're just like, oh my god, we don't have enough beef. Well, what are we gonna do? How do we? Let's like crash cook some beef, and then like, but you think about it now, and you're like, who the fuck cares? It's such a small thing, and it was like, oh my god, we got to get one of these other aisles open. It's like, no, let them fucking stand in line. What are they gonna do?
You know who the fuck cares? Me, because I don't want to get yelled at by some 62-year-old who's like, "Where's my goddamn beef?"
Yes, and
I thought you sold beef here. And I'd be like, "I'm sorry, sir. Do you want some pork instead?" It's like, I came here for beef.
I don't eat pork. It's the other white meat, and I'm white. I have questions.
I mean, I eat pork, but I don't want it right now, and therefore I shouldn't be forced to eat it.
So
Tuesday's pork day.
I was here yesterday. Do you remember? I got the pork then.
You expect me to eat pork 2 days in a row? Why are you coming to our restaurant 2 days in a row?
Listen, I eat here every day, but you know. Anyway,
the food is free. That's what I eat here every day.
Yes. But
it's like unsaid. Like, you know, like I'm not gonna turn down the free meal you give me. I'm not gonna go to Jack in the Box just because.
Pizza,
just because I feel like it.
3 days in a row. Well, it is free, so fuck. All right. But in September,
it has been given to me. So
in September, we're heading towards a cliff where the likelihood is the unemployment benefits will not be extended. So unemployment goes back to pre-pandemic rules. States like California could continue to fund the difference, but that's likely not going to happen, especially if it falls after the recall election, because Gavin Newsom's going to be like, fuck you, one way or another after that election. So we're heading towards a cliff where people are going to have to make decisions.
After he gets recalled and he's pushing Dianne Feinstein down the steps.
Listen, Dianne, it's for the best. It's for everybody. I got 10 days in office.
I need to teach people a valuable lesson about democracy.
But a lot of people are going to have to choose come September. Do I take a big hit in my unemployment check because I'm not going to get the money, or do I take a job that maybe I don't like? And again, these companies are offering everything except more pay. We'll give you $500 right now. How about $2 more an hour? Oh, no, we're not going to do that.
I saw a story from like a hotel chain or something, like they were interviewing them on the news or something like that, and they said we've started going back in the files and finding people who we didn't hire from like years past and calling them up and seeing if they want a job. Like there is some businesses that are getting desperate, and I understand because right now I would not want to take a job where I got to deal with people like that all fucking day, because people are worse than they've ever been.
Terrible. Everyone is terrible. Yeah, and
there's all these stories that are out there about like how like people are treating like waiters and waitresses like shit, and it's like, you know, I've been in this position. I get it. Like once, all you have to do is wait a table once. Like just wait one singular table, and you'll understand the strife that they go through for the rest of your life. You'll never be rude to a waiter. With like, they could punch you in the face, and you just be like, "Well, I guess whatever I did, I deserved it." Like, what?
Do you remember that I got hired by the Burbank Hilton, the airport Hilton, when we first moved to LA?
I think so. Yeah.
And then summarily got called from them and told, like, actually, we don't really need you. Sorry about that. Which was super fun for me when I didn't have a job and I just moved to LA, Burbank Hilton. I got a call from the Rebank Hilton. So I can confirm that is in fact correct. And then I got to have, for the first time in my life, a Pretty Woman moment where I was like, mistake. Big mistake. Because I stayed with my company.
Slap the jewelry box on them.
I know. See, I've stayed with my company all through the pandemic.
Want this? Slap.
But no, I've stayed with my company all the way through the pandemic. I have been an unbelievable asset and resource to them. That could have been you. You could have been the one.
That could have been you, Hilton.
They actually don't pay me that much more than you would have been paying me by now. It could have been you. But also, by the way, to not offer me more than you offered me 4 years ago when you gave me the job, like, so we're hiring at $15.30 an hour. Be like, that was how much you were paying 4 years ago, because I was like, this is crazy that they're going to be paying that much. Well, it's the same job.
We knew at one point you would take it.
Like, all right. So, but honestly, I'm going to be honest. I thought about it because it's 40 hours straight a week. I just like show up, I do the thing, and I leave. And I'm like, is it worth the pay cut for just like, that's it. Just go to work, come back. But I can't get to Burbank. That honestly, the major thing is I can't get to Burbank because I don't have a car. So, yeah.
You'd have to like fucking Metro or Uber there every day.
Oh my God. Either one of those options sound horrible and things I don't
Either that or take a bird through the Cahuenga Pass.
I mean, I could
just
do
you
that.
on Barham, which is
they got a pretty good range. Oh, or I could buy a bike finally, which is what I keep saying I'm going to do and not do it. But anyway, fuck you, Airport Hilton. Just also because you suck, but also because of the job thing. So yeah. Anyway, in speaking of passes, there are a lot of passes in the country of Afghanistan that are going to be problematic in the next few months. I don't know if you knew this, Corey. The U.S. has pulled out of Afghanistan. Mission accomplished.
Well, I mean, hold on. They haven't pulled out yet. They just expressed an interest to pull out.
No.
Are telling them,
ground soldiers.
telling people when.
Ground soldiers are out. Ground soldiers are
Well, a
out.
lot of them are. Yeah.
Yes.
Not all of them, though.
Well, the
There's
drone
like
operators are still there.
They'll stay.
They can only be used in an emergency situation. The artillery support also still there. Some pilots for actual jets and helicopters still
They
there.
can only be there for emergency situations, like infidels at the gates or a children's birthday party.
Yes. Weddings, funerals.
Somewhere in the spectrum between the two, like
Actually, it just occurs
there
to me.
will be a drone operator.
Afghanistan and Baltimore are very similar in so much as if you are going to a funeral for someone who was killed, there is a high likelihood that you will be murdered at that funeral.
Yeah.
It's like Lord Scuda all over again. Just like you get shot, then somebody gets killed at your funeral, and then somebody gets killed at their funeral, and it's like, but the U.S. is killing
And then
everybody.
the cops get in on the action.
Yeah, just like, in this case, though, U.S. is killing everybody, so it doesn't matter. So mission accomplished. We're pulling out of Afghanistan, and immediately the Taliban has taken the 5th largest city in Afghanistan, and taken in so much as they are holding parts of the city. The commander of the local Afghan forces was on the news giving an interview, and he said, without U.S. ground support and with air support only being around when absolutely emergency necessary, they're having a hard time fighting it. And the reporter asked him, like, well, we see a lot of civilians as well. Is that turning out to be a problem? And he explained that there was also a huge humanitarian problem as people were leaving the city to move back to Kabul. And I tried to ask myself, you've stayed there through all of this. Why now do you leave to go to the capital city? And then I was reminded by Corey why that might be. You don't even remember now. That was such a nice setup. And so there in all of these provinces, there were thousands upon thousands of Afghans working as interpreters, and they were helping U.S. forces. And the U.S. What did the U.S. promise them in exchange?
I mean, if they help the U.S. in the war effort, they could become U.S. citizens. They would basically move to the front of the line. Yeah.
So now we've been there 20 years. So that's 10 times 2 years worth of people.
Well, the promise was, listen, you help us. You put in your 2 years, and then you fill out your paperwork, and we'll put it at the top of the pile.
Top of the pile. It's just
now,
a big pile.
I don't know if you know this, but it's been about 8 years before we've reached to the number one name on that pile. So, it's sorry, I guess is what I'm going to say.
So
the guy who works on the pile is very lazy.
So there's a lot of people who we would call, interpreters and doing those kind of drivers, those kind of jobs. And the Taliban calls them collaborators. And they have threatened to kill them as soon as they get control of the area. And in fact, have killed many of them if they take control of an area. So those people are fleeing, and it is encumbering the local Afghan forces because unlike American forces who would, just carpet bomb the whole area anyway because one Afghani is the same as another. They're all Taliban.
Nobody asks questions.
Well, there's nobody left, so why would anybody be there to ask questions? The local Afghan forces don't do that, so they are trying to protect them as they flee from certain death if the Taliban gets to them.
I saw, it's funny. Sometimes every once in a while I see a story. Usually a documentary where like somebody gets embedded with like Mexican cartels and like they'll just like ask a point blank question, just like, what's your plan with the mayor of this small town that you've taken over? And it's just like, oh, we're gonna kill him.
Yeah, to kill him.
I mean, at some point he's got to leave his house and we'll kill him. That's what's going on.
We're gonna
some kid in a mask, some kid in a 14-year-old in a ski mask. I was like, what? Of course we're gonna kill him. What do you expect? We're a cartel. And the same thing has been happening with the Taliban, where it's just like you'll see some CNN story about an interpreter who's like crying. It's just like, I know I have near certain death in my future if the U.S. doesn't allow me to come and become a citizen after all the time I spent helping the U.S. in the war effort. And then they'll just like, we talked to a member of the Taliban just the other day, another kid in a ski mask, a 13-year-old who's just like, well, yeah, of course we're gonna marry Tom, or we're gonna murder Tom. Like, what do you expect?
Wait, do you know where Tom is? Because I'd really like to know if you know where Tom is. That would be fantastic.
I don't know why I picked Tom as the name. I don't imagine that many of them are named Tom, but
I'm sure troops called him Tom because I couldn't pronounce his name, so it's fine.
You can't pronounce, yeah. It's just fucking Tamir. Like, how difficult is it? It's not a unusual name. Like,
but by the way, we started earlier with the history repeating itself lesson. I know it's not our generation; it's the generation before us. But go and look at what happened when we won in Vietnam, and it's the exact same thing. We pulled out the South Vietnamese forces because, by the way, when we left Vietnam, there were two countries. There was South Vietnam and North Vietnam. And then almost immediately after we pulled out, the North invaded and took over the entire country. And there are some really famous pictures of like a Huey helicopter on the roof of the U.S. Embassy. And what's not shown in the pictures is the U.S. Marine putting his boot on the face of a young Vietnamese person, kicking them off the helicopter so that the Americans can get out. But all of those people we left behind who were collaborators in the eyes of the North, saying like, you've been helping the Americans this entire time. Of course we're going to kill you. Why did you think we're not going to kill you? Yeah, we're going to kill you. And here we are, 50 years later, doing the exact same thing one more time. So,
you know what, the part of it, the whole thing that frightens and confuses me though, is that I imagine that if we put out a poll of Americans and said, Taliban's been defeated, right? Question mark. And that's the whole question. I imagine we would get like 95% of people going like, yeah, of course they were defeated. Didn't you see George W. Bush land on the aircraft carrier?
The better question is, what year did the Afghan war win?
We won a long time ago, and now some other group that isn't the Taliban but acts just like the Taliban,
yes,
is causing trouble, and we're trying to deal with them.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Taliban's never gone anywhere. There's still the Taliban. They're still out there. What we get from, like generals and stuff like that is that we're very close to finishing up the Taliban. We're just perpetually very close to finishing off the Taliban.
So the funny thing is,
never seems to go away.
The funny thing is, if you were to ask any of these like crazy right-wing gun nut survivalists, the Robertos of the world.
Yeah, I was going to say, Roberto's in the other room. Do you want me to?
I mean, we could just ask him. What would happen if the U.S. got invaded? What they would tell you, because I've had these conversations with these people, is, oh, well, no enemy would ever win. Well, why is that? Oh, we would just retreat to the mountains, and then we would just wage a guerrilla war against them. Like, you seen Red Dawn? Just guerrilla war. And so it's impossible for them to see that, like, okay, so U.S. gets invaded, you go to the hills and then wage a guerrilla war and basically wait out the invaders. Like, you try to bleed them to death, or until at home they no longer have support for this war and they leave. Absolutely, yeah. That's it. Okay, so let me ask you about Afghanistan. Oh, well, certainly we are dominating and winning. We are weeks away from victory there. So what you're saying is we invaded their country, they fled to the hills, and now 20 years later, we're leaving winning in victory. Absolutely, yes. Okay, all right. That's what we call cognitive dissonance. You're not going to be able to make that up. But speaking of which,
congratulations on all the education you've received over the years. Money well spent.
Please do not procreate, please. Don't add an extra P into the gene pool. That's what I'm going to ask you. But funny thing, because we keep mentioning it, we are coming up on not funny, haha, funny, weird. We are coming up on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and we've been doing this podcast so long. We talked about the 15th anniversary of 9/11 on an episode of the podcast.
Yeah,
and
we did.
So you'd think, there's going to be some celebrations, and unfortunately they're not planning on building a mosque at Ground Zero, so the right doesn't have a lot of things to complain about. So they found something. They don't want Biden to come to the 9/11 20th anniversary because, known cop hater and military apologist and jihadi lover, Bin
Yeah.
Laden or Biden, I guess.
I mean, he was Barack Obama's vice president. What more do you need to know? Clearly.
I did not put that together, but you are absolutely correct.
Known jihadist Barack Obama.
I wonder if Biden was there with him in Indonesia. Maybe he knows that he was born in Africa and not in Hawaii. That'd be interesting. Does Biden know about the long form birth certificate?
Quickly, somebody get me Mike Lindell on the horn. I have a story to propagate.
Or the guy from 4chan, because if we want the word to get out, we got to get a hold of you. But yeah, 20th anniversary.
He's too busy investing in mustache wax.
But 20th anniversary is coming up, and there is literally
he's only a couple months away from a dastardly do-right kind of.
I mean,
tying damsels to train tracks and stuff like that.
He's in Southeast Asia during the pandemic. We can't say for sure he hasn't already done that. To be fair, but watch what is it? Into the Storm? Is that what it's called?
It's something like that. Yeah.
Into the Storm on HBO. It's very good. But coming up on the 20th anniversary, there is a group, a well-funded group, who is saying, Biden, don't come to the anniversary celebration. We don't want you here. It's led mostly by first responders who don't understand how politics work. That's the only thing I can assume, because they're just like, well, Biden's a Democrat and AOC's a Democrat and they both want to defund the police, while Biden has given more money to law enforcement than any of the preceding two presidents. Or three presidents, probably. So there's that. I mean, listen, if you can sum up all of today's topics, it's that people are dumb and the internet will show you that. So just go search for it.
It's not even that people are dumb. Like,
no, people are dumb. People are dumb.
No. I wasn't discounting it. I'm just saying it's not just that they're dumb. It's like think back 20 years of your life, right? So you're 17, right?
So wait. So I'm 4. Wait, what year are we talking about? 20 years? So 1990.
Hold on a second. Carry the 2. Where's my toes?
1990 was 20 years ago. 2000 was 10 years ago. 2010 was also 10 years ago.
20 years ago, a mere 1 year prior to meeting me. Think about all the things that were important to you, and how many of them are you completely against philosophically now, as opposed to at that time? Because I mean, like, to me, the thing that I find so fascinating about this whole thing is that the same people who on September 12th, 2001, were putting American flag decals on the back of their trucks, and
my dad,
yeah, and doing all this, like, like making parody songs about Osama bin Laden, are the same people who fucking.
Do you remember when the world stopped turning?
They're the same people who fucking invaded the Capitol like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to fucking like. I don't get like. For me, I've stayed remarkably similar in this regard, in the fact that I don't like it when people attack America. Just, on principle. Like, I understand why people would, but I'm saying, like, generally speaking, I don't want people to attack the state, if you will. So when, September 11th happened, I was not happy. I was very mad, like many people were. And then flash forward to 2021, and I saw the Capitol under attack. It's not like I was just like, well, this one I'll let go. No, it's fucking stupid. I can't even believe it. See, in 20 years, we've become the dumbest country in the history of known man. Like,
I will disagree with you in one point. In 2001, I very nearly signed up for the armed forces because I, like you, was very upset at seeing the country attacked. Now I looked at January 6th and said, if these motherfuckers it was jealousy. If these motherfuckers pull this off, I'm going to be so... You could just walk the fuck in? You just get 3,000 people and walk in and fucking revolution? What have I been working on my entire life? What is wrong? But clearly it didn't work. Also, they had no fucking plan. They just walked in and waved some flags and left. So, had they had a plan and they had like gone in and like stayed, and also the White House and the Supreme Court and occupied, then maybe. So I have changed a lot, but also I'm just ideologically the opposite direction of where these guys are. Also, yes, revolution, yes, overthrow the government, but not the fastest dictatorship. I want to go with the communist dictatorship led by me. Benevolent dictatorship, as I've often, tried
Papa
to get
Rob,
get on the side again. Orphanages for all of the with the statue of me with my hand down, and just so every child can come in, the adjustable arm, so they
gently
can
rub against the hand.
Yeah, they put it on the side of their head, and they can look up into my cold metal eyes, which are vaguely the same coldness of my real eyes, and just know that
secretly cameras.
Know that someone out there is thinking about them and worries about them and wants them to grow up strong and happy and a member of the Revolutionary Army who will make sure he maintains power for another generation.
Meanwhile, Rob is in his spruce moose with having had bathed in days or shaved his beard or anything, watching the live feeds from all the cameras of all the statues.
Matrix style, just like TVs everywhere, just every
fucking
single
waiting
one.
for someone to piss on it and just be like, Columbus, Ohio, it's a go.
No, see, I'd be the opposite. I would just be, they wouldn't know, but I would be basking in the glory, basking in their
praise. Hatred.
No, because I think the kids would like that. Yeah, it's like traveling around the country, and again, you start out with like kids who are 12. You wait 6 years and then let somebody try to overthrow you as a dictator. Just wait, because you just have this army rising up, and they just keep. New generations just keep coming out of it. You get new 18-year-olds. The problem with the 7 Years' War is they let everyone fight from 15 to 50. We don't do that anymore. Now you get a new whole section of soldiers. Every year you get new 18-year-olds. Like, yes, let's keep this going. Burn down the establishment. Keep me in power. Benevolent dictatorship, though. Like, everybody who would want to overthrow that? That's great. It's fantastic.
Real quick before we go, on an unrelated note, I didn't bring it up in the pre-show. I just it just dawned on me that this was also the week that had Obama's 60th party that everyone is fucking freaking the fuck out about.
Oh, the birthday party?
Yeah. Do you have takes? Because a lot of people are upset about the maskless, almost 100% vaccinated crowd who showed up at Martha's Vineyard.
It is a hypocrisy. Sure. Absolute hypocrisy, but more hypocrisy is you've removed the mask mandate in your state and people are dying from COVID because you've also said vaccines are crazy while getting vaccinated, and this was a 100% vaccinated crowd who was isolated away from the public. It's just them amongst themselves. So who cares? And it's a bunch of super rich people. Super rich people are going to do what super rich people. Does anybody upset when the Kardashians went on fucking vacation? I was. Was anybody else? No. So
were they quarantined for 2 weeks and then went on vacation?
Well, no, they kind of did. Kind of quarantined, kind of, and then went on vacation together, and then immediately
quarantined with just the 14 handlers that help us live our lives.
Right, but then got massages on the vacation and had people there to cook and clean, and then once they got back from vacation, immediately went about their lives. Like, they don't understand the quarantine on the backside is the important part. So, and
of course, the hologram of Robert Kardashian wasn't tested for COVID either. So who knows? Maybe he brought it with him.
You never can say. I mean, that hair alone has to be a super spreader event, right? Like just the big bouffant. Unless, do you think they paid the Ross to come in and just be dad during that? I feel like that's or Travolta.
Speaking of the luscious hair of Robert Kardashian, you know where else you can go and see something amazing?
Where's that?
OhTheAnthem.com, Corey at OhTheAnthem.com, the Anthem of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. I'd go on about my shit, but I'm just so fucking tired. I can't even think straight. My eyes
Your
are
video's up though,
like
right?
Fucking drooping. What?
The video's up. You're good. It's
I mean, it's been uploaded. I don't know what else. What other steps are there involved in getting it out to the masses? Oh, that's right. publishing it. That's
Yes.
that's the yeah. Well, eventually, one of these days, you'll enjoy it.
Oh, is that it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's me.
All right.
I'm gonna take a nap while you're doing your part.
Okay. So I'm streaming on Twitch again. So if you are interested in Call of Duty and or the new game that I just started checking out today, which is Switchgate, come watch me stream on Twitch. I got Dark Ether, which means nothing to anybody who doesn't know COD, but now I have Dark Matter and Dark Ether, and it's super exciting. So I'll have those clips up. And I was looking to get a video up about my new take on communism, but like it turns out the color thing is a lot more complicated, and it was like probably better to be on TikTok. I'm gonna make a very simple test that make people feel dumb at the end and be like, "Oh, I'm a communist. I just didn't even know." So yeah, so make sure you check that out. And, all new content coming all the time. Follow me on social media at Robert and Cheek, and everything else is available at robertandcheek.com, which will eventually be updated at some point. But, I work a lot. Corey works one day. Now he's falling asleep. I'm just doing everything. Basically, it's just me over here doing everything. So, anyway. Yeah.
Oh,
did you have something else?
What happened? What happened? Mm-hmm. Is it 7 a.m. already?
I would gather you've gotten more sleep in the last 4 days than I got in the last 7 days.
Oh, you no.
Don't make me ask why. You're needling the people with who want to know. Come on.
I mean, last night was a solid 2.5 hours of sleep. So
what time was your call time this morning?
It was 10, but it was also all the way down by the airport, and I had to drive to Glendale first, so it took a little while.
Didn't you get back at 8 p.m. though?
What?
Didn't you get back at 8 p.m. though?
Yeah.
So you stayed up late and then got no sleep?
No, I just tried to fall asleep, and the good wife distracted me. I don't know what else to tell you. Well, I think we've done good here today.
I hate everybody. Just everyone is terrible. We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the the Anthem podcast, part of the the Anthem Digital Network. For Princess Corinthia over here, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody. And by the way, check out RTOAZN on social media and tell him he's a crazy survivalist gun nut. I'm sure he'll enjoy that.
What?
Here's a mic check. Do you think Roberto's listening to the podcast? We'll find out soon.
Not at this point.
Download, don't listen.